For more on what the next round of stimulus could include, we're joined by Wyoming Senator John Barrasso, third-ranking Republican in the Senate leadership. And I think you heard all we were just talking about, what Kayla was reporting on. Senator, what's the current thinking of what we're going to see, given all the swirling concerns on both sides, whether President Trump signs it or doesn't sign it, depending on what's in it? What's it going to look like?
Well, members have been home talking to people, visiting with people. I just got back in from Wyoming last night, and what we're looking at is not stimulus, it is a recovery bill for our economy. This can only be a bridge to a healthy economy. And to me, the tests that I'm applying are three. One is, will this help people get back to work and kids get back to school? Will it help save lives? And to me, that's testing, it's treatments, and it's a vaccine. And then the third, of course, is the liability protection that we talk about for our healthcare workers, for our schools, and for those mom and pop businesses that want to open. And we know what the difference is. Nancy Pelosi says, no, this has to continue as being the economy. This cannot be the economy. There isn't enough money in the world to do the sorts of things that Nancy Pelosi is promising from handout heaven. We need to be responsible about this, and that's what the Republican conference will be meeting tonight and tomorrow are going to be talking about.
Is there a way to design it so that people are induced not to stay at home? And you know, there may be some extension there for the $600. How would you structure it?
Yeah, we cannot, as a nation, continue to pay people more for not working than they can earn at work. But that's what's happening here. That expires in 11 days. What we know is about 3 out of 4 people who are getting these bonus checks, these unemployment bonus checks, are making more from not working than from working. And yet in Wyoming, and talking to other senators, we're seeing help wanted signs all around the country. Now, Nancy Pelosi wants to extend this $600 bonus per worker for an additional 6 months at the cost of hundreds of billions of dollars. To me, that would be a heavy wet blanket on the economy. Plus, the economists tell us it would slow job growth to the tune of about 10 million jobs between now and the beginning of the year.
Hey, Senator, I'm concerned that we've been throwing a lot of good money after bad, in large part not because the intent wasn't right the first time around, but because we didn't, on the corresponding side of the health issue, actually deal with the testing and tracing and all the things that are necessary, so that this was only going to be a 2 or 3 month situation as opposed to what it's turning out to be. My question is, if we're going to be spending this money, what kind of rules of the road do you think need to come with it so that it doesn't turn into good money after bad?
Well, number one, as a doctor, I want to make sure that we have all the resources that we need to fight the disease, and very good news along the lines of a vaccine. This would be record-breaking, almost like putting a man on the moon in terms of so quickly getting a vaccine developed, if we can do this by the end of the year. You're right about things like the personal paycheck, the protection efforts that have gone. In Wyoming, 13,000 small businesses got those loans, average loan of about $78,000, but we've heard stories that things that shouldn't have happened the way they did. So as we do another bill, a round of recovery legislation, we need to make sure that there is the accountability and transparency in place to make sure that the taxpayers are getting their money's worth. So those are the sorts of things. And then in terms of money that have gone to the states, and significant amounts of money already has, I believe they need more flexibility in using that money to make up for lost revenue as a result of the coronavirus crisis.
So payroll tax is unlikely, in your view, Senator, a holiday on that? The president still talks about it, but is anyone else, is McConnell or is that, I don't want to say DOA, that's a bad term to use lately, but is it not going to make it into the bill, Senator?
It's certainly in the mix. To me, it's just one arrow in the quiver of what could help and what could work. It would let people that do have jobs keep more of their hard-earned money. It would make it a little easier for employers, I think, to hire people if we get rid of this unemployment insurance big bonus. But, you know, this is money that ultimately goes into the Social Security Trust Fund, so you would end up ultimately having to make it up in another way. it does look, according to the economists, like it would give us 2 million to 3 million new jobs in America. So there's some value in doing this. And it's just one of the points for discussion as we go through the negotiations.
Where do you think the compromise, if there is a compromise? Democrats aren't thrilled with the liability, employer liability, but, you know, I don't know whether Republicans are ready for the state and city and local aid. Is that a potential where you could see those two things both in the bill and that's how the two sides could agree?
Well, there's that area, and also the total area, the total amount of spending. Joe, as you know, you're never going to be able to outpromise Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi when it comes to spending taxpayer money. I mean, they fire that money cannon aimed at their targets, and they're very, very good at it. The Republicans are in full agreement that $3 trillion approach by Nancy Pelosi really is fantasy island, and we need to look at a much more reasonable amount of money, closer to $1 trillion. But there's going to be negotiations, both once you get that total package number, that ceiling number, and then what the different parts are underneath that part. Is there direct payment checks to people making below a certain amount of money? Is there some unemployment insurance at a much lower number? What flexibility the states have with using the money? There are a lot of different things. There are a lot of moving parts and a lot of people that are having input in this. But ultimately, you need something that Nancy Pelosi will bring to the House and say, please pass this, that Mitch takes to the Senate and says, this is a good deal, and that the president says, I'm willing to sign.
So it's going to be between 1 and 3 trillion. Closer to 1, in your view?
That's the number I would like to see. And we have members of the Republican conference who believe that we shouldn't put any additional money into this. And people are going to be coming back to our conference, and we're going to hear stories from their home states. I have stories from Wyoming about what is the best way to move forward, what we're seeing not just with the disease, but with the economy, the importance of getting kids back to school in agreement with the American Academy of Pediatricians. The risk of keeping kids out of school is much higher than the risk of putting children in school. That's where they need to be. And the pediatricians say they need to be there, Joe, in person.
Well, I hope you've steeled yourself for this. I mean, I know you're back, but you got to go all the way to the 7th of August. I mean, you're crazy. You guys are thinking about really working 2 weeks in a row? Is that, I mean, you need a new agent or something. Is it? Have you steeled yourself?
The House, you were correct. The correct report, when the House is planning to adjourn, the Senate's going to be meeting into August. So we're going to get this done before anyone leaves. We're going to come to consensus on this.
You're nuts. You're crazy. You're working too hard. Senator, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
We're glad you're not there. We're glad you're not there that much, actually, some of us. Anyway, kidding. Thank you. We'll see you again soon. Good luck. Andrew.